Buongiorno Bianconeri, welcome back to the channel. I'm Alberto. It's January 18th. I got you covered on everything this morning coming out around Juventus, all right? So we're going to take a look at a done deal that affects Juve next gen. Rabiot had an informal meeting between his agent and Juventus yesterday. We'll talk about the details of that one. Gatti being rumored to be going out on loan, leaving this January. We'll take a look at that too. Danilo's extension, where it stands, what the terms are, and how close it is to being finalized. Then, of course, we have a new president. Agnelli and Nedved today at the shareholders meeting say their goodbyes. The new board of directors is voted in, and Gianluca Ferraro will assume the role of president. We'll take a look at that. And then, of course, we have the Coppa Italia match tomorrow against Monza. No presser from Max, but we'll take a look at what the projected lineup is for that one. So let's get into it. All right, everybody. Reminder that if you're a diehard Juve fan, or even you support someone else and you just want to know what's going on with Juventus, hit the like button, smash the subscribe button, and set those notifications on. Hit the bell because we got you covered when it comes to everything Juventus. All right, now let's get to the news. So, 21-year-old goalkeeper out of Crotone, Gianmarco Crespi, has been signed by Juventus. This is a done deal according to Nicola Schira. He is going to basically head straight to Juve next gen. So, Juve in the youth sector continue to just pull up that talent. So here comes Gianmarco Crespi. Now, Rabiot, informal meeting yesterday between his mother/agent and Juventus. Now, we were hearing a lot of reports about her being upset that Juventus was waiting so long to basically even discuss renewal or what their intentions are. Apparently, this meeting was informal and it was only about Juve sharing their intentions on wanting to re-sign Adrien Rabiot. None of the details, none of the finances were even discussed. Now, what we are hearing as far as details that Juve can go as high as 7.5 to 8 million euros a season, but all indications are that Rabiot will not lower his demands from 10 million euros and is fully expected to leave Juventus this summer. All right. Gatti being rumored to potentially be going out on loan this January. This comes from Gazzetta. Personally, I'm not buying it one bit. I expect him to have an increased role like we were hearing in November. For the second half of the season, he'll be getting an increased role. I expect more minutes. We have a Coppa Italia match tomorrow against Monza. He's slated to start as well. When you come into talking about player performances and even the amount of games that we have, I can't see Gatti being let go for loan. And it's also being reported today that Rugani will also be sticking around until season's end. So the question that would really be there is, does Allegri feel more trust in Rugani and think that we could let Gatti go out on loan to get more minutes? I'm not so sure about it. But if we're not letting Sule go for account of minutes on a loan and keeping him around to fight for minutes, Gatti should have the same and he should remain. That's my personal opinion. But you, Ventini, you know what the drill is. I lay it out for you to play it out. Let me know what you think about all that. Now, before we get into the new board of directors, Danilo, he's got a contract extension that he's been working on with Juventus. It is almost done and finalized. 2 years term. Now, it's worth noting Danilo's current contract takes him to the end of 2024. So this 2-year extension would take him to June of 2026. All right. So very, very close to being signed, sealed, and delivered. Danilo to 2026. What do you think about that one? Now, of course, the big news today, shareholders meeting, board of directors, they have been voted in. Agnelli and Nedved had said their goodbyes, and in comes Gianluca Ferraro acting as new president. All right, now, Agnelli and Nedved. Agnelli shared his goodbyes and his message and everything, and he still found time, all right. Now, he said a couple of interesting pieces. The first one I'm going to bring up is 50 to 60% in 5 to 8 years' time. He wouldn't be surprised to see 50 to 60% of our first team made up of the youth sector, all right? So that's a big one. And this has Juventini reacting immediately on social media saying, are we turning into a feeder club? This is going to be an interesting topic, and we're going to tackle it on the Coppa Italia Monza Highlight Match Day Live tomorrow, live on this channel. So make sure you're here for that discussion. That's going to be an interesting one. And of course, we're going to talk about all the news, but especially this, and then get into everything ahead of the match against Monza. Okay, so make sure you're with us, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Now, he says that was an interesting one. A lot of fans automatically associate playing young players with losing and becoming a feeder club. How do you feel about it, Juventini? Now, Agnelli, in his goodbyes, made sure to still highlight Europe and it needing major reform in terms of football and regulations, especially just saying that flat out, the Premier League will attract all the top talent and it's going to marginalize all the other leagues. You don't even have to look very far to see the evidence. In this Mercado, January already, Premier League has spent 320 million euros in terms of transactions. The closest league to them is La Liga at 19 million euros. It's not even close, and this has been going on for a while. When the Super League came out, myself, Anthony from AJC, a few of us, we were behind it immediately, not only for Juventus, but football in general, because you could see the trend. You could see where it was going, and something had to happen. Otherwise, the gap's just going to continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Italy, the FIGC, Serie A, they have a lot of work to do on their own, but the Super League, the presentation, how it came across, was bad and it needed tweaking and whatnot. And I was shocked that they presented in such a rushed state. But to be honest, football needed it because they needed a little bit of pushback and they needed to shine a bigger light on what was going on. And Agnelli, even if the Super League didn't work out and it didn't pan out and some teams backed out, it still did just that, and that's shine a light on what needs to happen. And now people are paying more attention to it, and you could see it in the numbers. So he made sure to still throw that in there about Europe needing major reform. All right, now let's get to my personal thoughts, and I want to get all of yours on Agnelli and Nedved. But basically, regardless of where we stand now, and I say it's okay for Juventini to feel frustrated in what's gone on these past few years in terms of misdirection and seeming uncoordinated together as management and board and everything, and what direction we want to go. Still, Agnelli and Nedved's time is massive, massive success, okay? We achieved a decade of dominance that I'll never see again in my lifetime from Italy. Highly doubt it. It was incredible. Adding in the doubles, the Coppa Italias, couple of Champions League finals, that cherry on top would have been these guys getting that Champions League title. They came so close. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out, but still, that is a huge, huge successful period for Juventus, the Agnelli and Nedved era. And they've also ushered in this Juve Next Gen project with other teams looking to basically follow our model. And then you have the women's team, which is just thriving. So a massive, massive success, regardless of how we feel towards the end. Make no mistake, they did an incredible, incredible job. So I thank them for all their work and tip my hat to Agnelli and Nedved. Grazie. Now, we have a Coppa Italia match tomorrow against Monza, obviously with the earlier on the season 1-0 defeat to them still in our minds. We have to come out and we have to get the job done. What can you expect from the lineup? Expect major rotation. We have Paredes, Miretti, Fagioli expected to start, okay? Gatti and Rugani expected to start. I question that one. We might see only one of them, but right now it's being rumored both. You will see one of Iling Jr. and Sule, and Keane will be up top. That's all we've got so far as lineups and what to expect. Juan Cuadrado, who was going to be in particularly in this matchup, he was expected to come in. He is out. Juan Cuadrado is still out. All right, now that's the latest, and that's your news break to January 18th, Juventini. You know the drill. Like the video, and of course, like I said, if you're a diehard Juve fan, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the bell to set notifications on. We are going to be live tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. You don't want to miss that one as we get hyped up for Monza and we tackle all the news around Juventus, and a new president and a new era begins. Forza Juve, fino alla fine. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning. Ciao.